Before we add a subdivision surface modifier to our gas tank, let's clean up the outliner just a little bit. This is just useful every once in a while to make sure you're not getting completely disorganized. So this cube here, this cube object, let's change this to gas tank. And these objects here are the chassis, and I don't want to combine these together yet. I want them as separate objects so I can deal with them individually. So what I'm going to do is just select this one and shift select the bottom one to select all of them. And then let's create a new collection for these. We can just press the M key, and you can see we get this Move to Collection menu, and we can move these objects to a different collection or create a new one here. So we'll just click New, and then we'll call this Chassis. And this may change over time, but I just wanted to organize them for now. And here we go. Now we've got a chassis collection, and all of these paths, or NURBS paths, are in this collection. Now, a NURBS, that is a mathematical acronym that stands for Non-Uniform Rational B-Spline. So if you want to Google that and do a little light reading on that, but that's the mathematical process that is used to create these paths. Anyway, more than we needed to deal with there. So let's go back to the gas tank. And to smooth this out, what I'm going to do is add another modifier, a subdivision surface. So I'm going to click here. And now you can see that smoothed it out just a bit. Let's twirl up the mirror so we can see this new modifier. And if we increase the viewport levels here, I'll take it from 1 to 2, you can see it smooths it out even more. And that's actually beginning to look pretty good. Now we can also smooth it so it gets rid of these polygon facets here. So we can right click and choose Shade Smooth. And that smooths it up quite a bit. All right, so let's see how we're doing. Let's hit the 3 key and then let's hit Z and wireframe and take a look at how we're doing here. And it's really not bad. I just feel like I want to tweak the shape of it just a bit to match the image a little bit better. So let's tab into edit mode. And you can see what happens here. We've got the original cage and then the smooth subdivision object inside it. Now we can come over here and turn on cage for this one as well. And those points will drop to the smooth mesh. Now, keep in mind, this is just kind of a trick because if we click on one of these points, you can see that the actual point is still up here. If we turn this off, there it is. So it's just kind of a human beneficial visual aid for us, I guess you could call it, that just gives us a sense of the shape in a little bit cleaner interface. So let's take these 2 points here and hit G, drag these up, and I'm just going to grab these points and begin moving them out to match the shape of the image. And we could probably move this up a bit. It looks like right in there. We could take all of these and maybe hit the G key and move them back a bit like this. Maybe down a bit. So just trying to get the shape to match the image, that's all. All right, let's take a look at it in solid mode. All right, I think that's pretty good. It looks to me like it's a little bit flatter on top than we have here. Let me try one thing. I'm going to add an edge loop with Control R right in here. That made it a little bit flatter on top. We might be able to work with this. Let's take these and pull them out a bit. Let's take these and pull them down just a smidge like this. We can kind of begin to get that shape. Maybe this edge should come forward a bit. Let's try that. Maybe this edge can come back a little bit. So you may just want to go through and just pull some points around, pull some edges around, and see what you can get in terms of the shape of this thing until you get to the point where you kind of like it. I'm going to hit the 1 key and then the Z and wireframe, and I kind of want to take these edges down here and maybe pull them in just a bit. Like this, I'm not sure. And maybe grab one of these and pull them out just a bit. It may be too much, but I'm seeing it right in here. All right. So that's pretty good. Let's go with that for now. We can always do more adjusting as we go on, and that's one of the reasons why I'm leaving the modifiers on, the mirror and the subdivision. I'm not going in and applying them quite yet, because I want to be able to make some adjustments as we move forward. We don't want to lock ourselves into a certain way of doing things, because as we add more of the objects, more of the pieces, it's going to become clearer how they fit together and what the relationship is between them. Well, the next kind of major piece up here on the top is the seat. We have a pretty good image of it right here. Let's see if we can add another image in here while we create that. I'm going to hover over a corner here, click and drag down to create a new window, and then I'll click here and go to Image Editor. And let's click Image, Open, and go into our reference images here and see if we can find another image of the seat. This isn't bad right here. Let's try that. So they're two fairly similar views, but I think these might help us a bit, in addition to our side views here. So how should we begin something like this? Well, for a complex shape like this, what I usually like to do is begin with a polygon plane. Since a polygon plane is really just kind of a two-dimensional object, it's easier to pull and push and mold into the proper shape. And then once we get that plane into shape, then we can add thickness to it. I try and do one thing at a time. So let's try and get that shape down first, and then we'll add the thickness. So let's press Shift-A, Mesh, Plane, and let's scale it in. And remember, I've got the 3D cursor here in the center of the grid, so it came in the center. And I want to keep it in the center because I still want to add a mirror modifier. I'm going to hit the 3 key and just hit G and move it up here. And I'll hit the S key and hit G. And once again, because I'm moving here in the orthographic view, it's staying in the center. Hit the R key and rotate it a bit like this. All right, and then let's come around here. And while we're here, let's go ahead and add an edge right down the center so we can add that mirror modifier. I'll tab into edit mode, press Control R. And then I'll hit the Enter key 2 times. I'll press the 3 key to go to face mode and select that face, hit delete and delete faces. And now let's add that mirror modifier here. There we go. Oh, and I need to turn on clipping, right? Let's do that. All right, so now that we've got this, maybe we should add a few edge loops and begin pulling this around. So what if I added an edge loop right here? And if I turned on the cage here, we could see it on the other side. All right, so I've got 3 edges here. What if I added 3 edges here? If I press Control R and hover over this, and then scroll the mouse wheel, I can add as many edges as I want here. But let's scroll back and just add 3. And then I'll hit Enter 2 times. Okay, so now we have some points that we can work with. And to get this nice smooth shape here, let's turn on our proportional editing. If we come up here and hover over this, you can see that this is the proportional editing tool. If we turn that on, now if I select a point, let's say this point in the center, if I hit the G key and the Z key, I'm going to move up and down in the Z axis. But look at this, it's moving the entire thing. I don't want that. So the reason why it's doing that is because its area of influence is so big, it's moving the entire object. So if I zoom out a bit and hit G and Z again, now you can see this area of influence. If I scroll in, now it's a bit smaller, and I can push down and pull up. So I'm just going to right click real quick to get out of that, and then let's come in here a little bit closer, and let's do that again. I'll hit G, Z, and begin moving this down, and I can scroll this out and in to change the influence. So I think I want it to come out about like this, or come down about like that. And then I'll go ahead and turn this off, and we can turn it off using the O key. The O key turns it off and on. You can see that here. So I'll turn it off for now, and then let's begin arranging these points a little bit better. So I'll hit the 3 key, and I think I want to take all of these and move them up just a bit like this, and then take these sides here and begin pulling them up a bit, kind of like this. So I'm trying to get that general shape of the seat there. Let's tumble around. Okay, I think we're getting somewhere. Let's hit the 7 key, and I'm going to grab these. I'll hit the G key and move these in a bit. And maybe I'll hit the G key and move these in a smidge, like that. All right, let's tumble around and see how we're doing here. Well, we need to move that up just a bit, I think, right? There we go. And then let's grab these edges here, and I'm going to extrude these forward. So let's first of all take these points. I think I need to move them up a bit. Move that up a bit, and take this one and move this up a bit like this. I'm just trying to get that slope up here. And then once we do that, let's take these edges and let's extrude them forward. So I'm going to hit the E key and just pull these forward like this. Then I'll hit the 1 key and select these and begin kind of moving these forward like this. So once again, we're just trying to block out that basic shape of the object, kind of like we did with the gas tank. So I'll press Control R here and add an edge and then bring that up. Hit G and bring this one up here like that. And then we probably need to come up here and begin moving these around a bit. So let's take this and move these in and move that out maybe. Let's see how we're doing here. Yeah. All right, so we're getting that basic shape. It looks to me like I need to widen this out a little bit here. So let's begin taking these out a little bit like this. And these could probably come in some. I'll just hit G and move these in a bit like this. We could probably add an edge right here. That'll help us as we work with that shape. All right, that's the beginning of the seat. In the next video, we'll do a little bit more refining. We'll add a subdivision surface modifier, and we'll add some thickness to it with a solidify modifier.